अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्तिराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome everyone on the 29th session of our Gajendra Stuti, Gajendra Lila Katha description. We have finished till text 21 of the 3rd chapter of the 8th canto. So we will continue from text 22 today. But before we do that, since we had a weekend break, I just want to quickly, really quick, speak about text 21 so that it lays the background, and then we can take text 22 onwards. Gajendra in text 21 of the 3rd chapter in his Stuti calls out to Krishna as Tam Aksharam Brahma Param Paresham Avyaktam Adhyatmika Yogagamyam. He says Aksharam. My Lord, you are Akshara, he who never falls from his position, or let's say there is no destruction in his personality. Now in Hindi, when someone is haunted, let's say by some ghost, or let's say by some illness, he is not in his natural state. Let's put it like that. When someone is in a very abnormal, unnatural state of working, they say, is vyakti ko kshara hua hai. Kshara. Which means he is not in his natural state. There's something wrong with him. So here, when Gajendra calls out Krishna as Akshara, that means never is there a time when Krishna is not in his natural state, or never is there a time when there is something abnormal about Krishna. He is always in his natural state, and he is inexhaustible. That is Aksharam. And then Brahma Param, Brahma, even the living being is Brahma, which means here the word Brahma refers to eternal. But the difference between Krishna and the living being is, we may be Brahma as far as eternity is concerned, but Krishna is Brahma Param. He is the supreme, he is the source. If we are referred to as soul, as Atma, then he is super soul or Paramatma. And he is Para Isham, Paranam Isham. Para means great souls. And Isham, he who is the Lord of the great souls. He is the Lord of the demigods. He is the Lord of all great souls. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutas Tunvanti Divyai Sthavair Vedai Sangha Pada Kramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Na Vidhu Sura Asuragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. in this very beautiful verse of the last chapter of the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Suta Goswami describes Yam Brahma. Brahma is the four-headed creator of the universe. Yam Brahma Varuna is the demigod in charge of the water bodies. Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Swarga Raj Devaraj, the lord of the demigods. Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Rudra, Rudra is Lord Shiva. Maruta, which is Pavandev, the wind god. Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaihi Sthavaihi. Stunvanti means to praise, glorify. And Stunvanti Divyaihi Sthavaihi, with Divya or transcendental, Stava, glories. With transcendental glories or prayers, all these great demigods quoted here, they are all constantly glorifying the Supreme Lord. Yam Brahma Varuna Indra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyai Stavaihi. With transcendental prayers, they are glorifying. And Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samaga. And also every word of the Vedas constantly glorify Krishna. And Yam Samagaha. Even the Samaveda glorifies Krishna. In fact, this Samaveda emanates from the flapping of the wings of Garuda. So you can imagine how much the Vedas are glorifying Krishna. And Dhyana Vastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha. When the yogis sit and meditate for many thousands of years, the Lord who naturally, spontaneously, who manifests in their consciousness is Krishna. So He is the eternal Lord. He is the ever-existing witness to everything. That is why He is manifesting. Otherwise, someone else would have manifested. Yasya antam, he whose end, na viduhu, cannot be understood. Sura, asura ganaha, either by the demigods or by the demons. Devaya tasmai namaha. To that Supreme Lord I bow down. Well, someone will have doubts that here Krishna's name is not mentioned. How do we know all the demigods are bowing down to Krishna, or whether they are bowing down to any Vishnu Murti? Maybe they are bowing down to Narasimha. Maybe they are bowing down to Varaha. How do we know they are all bowing down to Krishna ultimately as the source? To which Jayadev Goswami, in the last verse of the Dashavatar Stotram, he mentions, Vedan uddharate jaganti vahate bhugolam udbhibrate daityam dharayate balim chalayate kshatrakshayam kurvate paulastyam jayate halam kalayate karunyam atanvate mlechan murchayate dasha kritikrite krishnaya tubhyam namaha. Jayadev Goswami, he lists out the 10 incarnations. He glorifies them profusely. He says, Vedan uddharate, he who saved the Vedas, and Jaganti Vahate, he who held up the whole mountain on. So the one who saved the Vedas and saved King Satyavrata is Matsya Avatar, and Vedan Uddharate. And then Jaganti Vahate, he who held the mountain on the back and facilitated the churning process, is Kurma. And Bhugolam Udbhibrate, and that Lord as Varahadev who lifted Mother Earth. And Daityam Dharayate, and that Lord who as Narasimhadev destroyed Hiranyakashipu. And Balim Chalayate, he who has Vamandev, he cheated Bali. And Kshatrakshayam Kurvate, and he who as Parashuram destroyed all the Kshatriyas. In this way, Paulastyam Jayate is Ram. And Halam Kalayate, the one who used the plough, is Balaram. Karunyamatanvate, he who enforced compassion, is Buddha. And Mlechan Murchayate, and he who will destroy all the Mlechas, is Kalki. After listing up all these 10, Jayadev Goswami says, Mlechan Murchayate dasha kritikrite krishnaya tubhyam namaha. I bow down to Krishna, who is the root of all Vishnu Murtis. So in this way we see how all the demigods are constantly offering their obeisances to Krishna. So we are trying to elaborate the term Paresham of the 21st verse. So all the demigods are offering obeisances to Krishna. Not just to Krishna, Prabodhananda Saraswati says they are also always offering obeisances to Radharani. Yo Brahma Rudra Shukha Narada Bhishma Mukhyaihi Alakshito na Sahasa Purushasya Tasya Sadhyo Vashi Karana Churna Mananta Shaktim Tam Radhika Charana Renu Manusmarami. Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Yo Brahma Rudra Shukha Narada Bhishma Mukhyaihi. He's saying that all of these great names that we have mentioned, they are all bowing down to Krishna's lotus feet. And Krishna is busy bowing down to the dust of the lotus feet of Radharani. So what does that mean? All the demigods are also offering obeisances to Radharani. So when Radha and Krishna combine and come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now do the demigods offer their obeisances and all great personalities offer their obeisances? The answer is yes. And the great Praman is Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Sandhya Arati. Kiba Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhakati Vinoda Dekhe Gaurara Sampada. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kiba Shiva Shukha Narada Adi. They're all these great personalities, Preme Gadgada, they're all literally filled, choked with emotions, worshipping Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Bhakati Vinoda Dekhe Gaura Rasampada. And in this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is seeing the public worship and the reverence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this great personality, Sri Krishna, who is the Lord of our lives, who is the source from where we all appear, that Krishna, Gajendra is saying, Adhyatmika Yoga Gamyam. He can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga. Adhyatmika Yoga Gamyam. So the word Gamya means to approach, and Adhyatmika Yoga. Not any other yoga. The word Adhyatma oftentimes is translated as spiritual. In traditional sense, Adhyatma ke path par chal raha hai. Adhyatma can be referred to as spiritual. But there's a very deep meaning to the word Adhyatma. The word Adhyatma is a combination of two words, Adhi and Atma. So Atma means the soul, and Adhi means Adhikar, which means that which is the birthright. And Yoga means to yujate, to connect. So to be able to connect with God as on the level of the birthright of the soul is called bhakti. Anything else is an artificial superimposition on the soul. But what is naturally the birthright of the soul, the adhikar, the birthright of the soul is bhakti, to love God. So anyway, this was the background where Gajendra has described the Supreme Lord and has mentioned that this Krishna can be attained only through bhakti, which is adhi atma, which is intrinsic to the soul. Now let's go to text 22, 23, 24. They are given together. So I'll read 22, 23, 24 together and read the translation. Yasya brahmadayo devaha Veda lokaschara charaha Nama rupa vibhedena Phalvyacha kalaya kritaha Yatha chishogne Saviturgabhasthayo Niryanti samyanti sakret swarochishah Tatha yatoyam Gunasam pravaho Buddhir manakhani sharira sargaha Savaina deva suramartya tiryan Nastri na shando na puman na jantuhu Nayam guna karmana sanna chasan Nisheda shesho jayatada sheshah. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead creates his minor parts and parcels, the Jiva Tattva, beginning with Lord Brahma, the demigods, and the expansions of Vedic knowledge, Sama, Rig, Yajur, and Atharva, and including all other living entities, moving and non-moving, with their different names and characteristics. As the sparks of a fire or the shining rays of the sun emanate from their source and merge into it again and again, the mind, the intelligence, the senses, the gross and subtle material bodies, and the continuous transformations of the different modes of nature all emanate from the Lord and again merge into Him. He is neither demigod nor demon, neither human nor bird or beast. He is not woman, man, or neuter, nor is He an animal. He is not a material quality, a fruitive activity, a manifestation or non-manifestation. He is the last word in the discrimination of not this, and He is unlimited. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Prabhupada. This is a summary description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's unlimited potency. That Supreme One is acting in different phases by manifesting His parts and parcels, which are all simultaneously differently situated by His different potencies. Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate. Each and every potency is acting quite naturally. Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Therefore the Lord is unlimited. Na tat samascha bhyadikascha drishyate. Nothing is equal to Him, nor is anything greater than Him. Although He manifests Himself in so many ways, personally He has nothing to do. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. For everything is done by expansions of His unlimited energies. So this is quite a very intense section of 3 verses. But we will try to make it more understandable and easier to digest. So, wherever needed, I will try to specify the Sanskrit word by word. And if not, we can go with the flow, because I don't want it to be very technically overwhelming and profound. So, in text 22, we see Yasya Brahma Adaya Devaha Vedaha Lokaha Chara Acharaha Nam Rupa Vibhedena Phalgya Cha Kalayakritaha. So here the context is Gajendra is actually looking up into the sky and crying, and he's calling out to Krishna. And as we previously mentioned, so many demigods are hovering over Gajendra's situation and seeing very carefully the movements of Gajendra and the words of Gajendra. The point to be noted is, Gajendra, as he is offering these prayers, there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes as far as mood or philosophy or linguistic usage of words. It's just perfect. Everyone from the associates of Gajendra up to the Supreme Lord, everyone is witnessing and hearing this. And in the middle are all great scholars. Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, is also listening. And this is just perfect, picture perfect, spoken by Gajendra. So as Gajendra is speaking, everyone is coming out, because now this is towards the final lap, so to speak, in Gajendra's offering, heartfelt effusion offerings in his prayers, because we have only 5 more prayers to go. Then Gajendra is wrapping up his pastime, his prayerful pastime. So all the demigods are coming out, one after another, to see. And some who have been there before, they are just standing there waiting. And most of them are even communicating with Gajendra that we are there to help you. Don't try to get the Supreme Lord for these insignificant things. Actually, God is very busy and He is very far away, and He has appointed us to work on His behalf. You see, you're an elephant and you're caught by a crocodile. It's not a very pressing situation for God to appear. God has appointed us, and in the past so many such elephants have been caught by crocodiles, and we have gone and helped. The elephants may have not chanted Gajendra Stuti, but they may have cried for help, and we have intervened and we have helped. So Gajendra, you are no special. You're just one among the many elephants. Don't think for every elephant the Supreme Lord will come. So He's very far away and He's very busy, He has appointed us, you're just an elephant, don't worry, we can save you. This is the mood in which the demigods are calling out to Gajendra. At that time, Gajendra is saying this verse. He says, I am calling out to that Lord. Yasya. Yasya means that person, that Lord. Which Lord? Brahma adayah devaha vedaha lokaha chara acharaha. He calls all the demigods as Brahmadayah. Brahmadayah means great demigods. All the wonderful demigods, but starting with Brahma, which means they're all present in the sky. Otherwise, why would he call Brahma? Brahma with all other demigods are present there. So therefore, Gajendra is naming them and saying, I am calling out to that Lord, Yasya, of whom Brahma Adayah, all the demigods headed by Brahma or starting with Brahma, are Kalayakritaha. That Lord is the source, and all these demigods headed by Brahma are insignificant portions of that Supreme Lord. Gajendra is saying, why should I call out to the spark when I can call out to the forest fire? Why should I call out to the small insignificant portions when I can reach out to the source? And he's not stopping with Brahmadayah. Not just the demigods. Not just the demigods are inferior and the demigods are insignificant portions of Krishna. He says, Vedaha. Apart from Brahmadayah Devaha, apart from demigods headed by Brahma, he says Vedaha. Because the demigods would say, well, the Vedas are saying that demigods have been appointed, right? So Gajendra says, well, the Vedas that you're quoting are also insignificant breathing coming out of the Supreme Lord. So Gajendra is breaking up all these arguments. He says, Yasya Brahmadayo Devaha, Vedaha, the four Vedas, and then Lokaha, all planets, heavens, all the kings, all the creation, Chara, Achara, moving and non-moving, animate and inanimate, all of them. And not just that, with so many variety, Nama, Rupa, Vibheda. The Vedas have different injunctions. The demigods are made differently. The worlds are created differently. The moving, non-moving, the animate, inanimate, all the variety of Krishna's creation with Nama and Rupa, with all their names and their specific forms, Vibheda. Their, divisions, or let's say the way in which they are distinctly distinguished from one another. All of them are Phalgya. They are all very, very small in front of God. And not just that, Kalayakritaha. They are not just small, though they are small possessions of God. So they also belong to Krishna. So Gajendra is actually speaking very, very strongly here. He's saying all the demigods, all the Vedas, all the planets, all the species with the moving and the non-moving, the animate and the inanimate, everything that I have named, everything that I have not named, all of them with their names, their forms, their characteristics are all insignificant in comparison to Krishna. And they're also insignificant possessions of Krishna. Kala. You see, there is an amsha and then there is a kala. Ete cha amsha kalaha pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Amsha means a portion coming from God. And kala means portion coming out of that portion. So what is the amsha? Vishnu is the amsha of Krishna. Krishna is the mool, the swayam roop, the root. So the amsha, the expansion, is Vishnu Murtis. And expansions coming out of those Vishnu Murtis who are working, the Vishnu Murtis who are actually heading the demigods. So the Vishnu Murtis are the amsha, and the demigods are amsha of the amsha. They are working under the Vishnu Murtis. Therefore they become kala. Amsha means portion and kala means portion of the portion. So here basically Gajendra is saying, all of these things that I have named, they are not just they are not just insignificant. They are also insignificant portion of the portion of God. So why should I, when I can get 1 million, why should I settle down for like 500,000, for example? So the demigods are a little upset at this because Gajendra is speaking the truth. But at the same time, the point to be noted is demigods are also great devotees. So although temporarily, because of some covering, fluctuating movements of rajas, they may sometimes feel upset, or Indra may feel threatened sometimes. But ultimately, because of the predominance of sattva, they are appreciative of Gajendra's truthful stand at this point. In fact, in one shastra it is described that Narada Muni once asked Brahma, when Brahma was sitting to create, Narada Muni said, "Oh, who are you? Are you the original scientist who's creating everything? Are you the knower of everything? You seem to be everything. You seem to be the source of everything and the knower of everything. You seem to be the expert engineering scientist who knows how to create. And in fact, I see no boss that you report to. Are you God?" asked Narada Muni. And Brahma was happy and sad at the same time. Happy and angry, so to speak. Why was he happy? He was happy because he was reminded of Vishnu. He told Narada Muni, "I am very happy with this question because you have called me by these adjectives. Original scientist, knower, no boss to report to, etc. And I'm very happy because these are the terms and these are the qualities of Vishnu or Krishna. So by this question I'm happy because it reminds me of Krishna. But I'm also very angry that you're calling me God. I am not God. I am an insignificant portion of God." And then Brahma gives a very beautiful example to Narada Muni. He tells Narada Muni that all of us as demigods, we are like silkworm. We make our cocoon like creation, but we get stuck in our own cocoon. But he says Vishnu is like a spider. This example has been given, quoted in the Shastra. Vishnu is like a spider. Why? Because the spider can create its own web. And it creates, not just creates it, it creates it so artistically. The artistic creation of a spider's web is appreciated by those who have observed it very closely. It's not haphazard. There is a very wonderful pattern that the spider follows. So one, it makes a web. Two, it's very artistic. Three, most importantly, it doesn't get caught in its own web. On the other hand, a moth, which is very insignificant, it gets into that web and it gets caught. So similarly, Vishnu, like a spider, makes this creation which is like a web. One. Second, it is very, very artistic. Two. Third point, he himself, like the spider, doesn't get stuck in his own creation. But we small, insignificant moths, we get stuck into the web of the spider, which is Vishnu. We get caught in the Maya. And fourth, and the most interesting point, now when the spider has to relocate, with his mouth, he can actually destroy his own web and carry it in his mouth to a new place and again reconstruct it back. So Vishnu, like that, he can create the web of his creation, point number one. Two, it is not haphazard and random, it is very artistic. Three, he doesn't get stuck in his own web of Maya, but while insignificant moth, like living beings, we get stuck. And fourth, that spider can wrap up his own web. So Vishnu, who creates the web of his creation, can also unwind. He who can create, he can also destroy and wind up his web and also reconstruct it again in another place, which means Vishnu creates so many different universes. He can create, maintain, destroy, even change, yet remain artistic and not be caught. So this description, this example has been quoted. So demigods also agree to this fact that Gajendra is making, that their intelligence is ultimately coming from Krishna, who is most intelligent and most artistic. Therefore, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yasmat ksharam matitoham aksharaadapi chottamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottamaha. In the Purushottama Yoga chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this very beautiful verse. He says, Yasmat ksharam atita aham. There are two kinds of living beings Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, ksharam and aksharam. Kshara are those which are fallible and akshara are those which are infallible. Infallible living beings in the spiritual world and fallible in this world. So Krishna says, Yasmat ksharam, as far as the Ksharam, the fallible ones are concerned, Atita Aham, I am superior to them. And so how about Akshara, how about the living beings in the spiritual world? Krishna in the second line, he says, Aksharat api cha uttama. I am also uttama, I am also superior to the infallible ones. Ataha, therefore, loke, in this world, and vedecha, in the shastra, pratitaha purushottama, I have been declared as Purushottama, Krishna is saying. Purusha uttama. So therefore, this term Purushottama for Krishna is very befitting. We see all the time when he is as Jagannath, the land is called Purushottama Kshetra, the land of the Supreme Lord. When he comes as Ramachandra, he is called Maryada Purushottama. When he comes as Krishna, he is called as Leela Purushottama. When he comes as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he is called Prema Purushottama. So in this way, the term Purushottama is always there. Why is that? This is because he is Purushanam Uttamaha. He is best among everyone. Among the Kshara also, Akshara also. Fallible also, infallible also. And this has been described in the Shastras and Loke, in the world. It has been described that when Jarasandha was being destroyed and killed, the last two words he pronounced were actually curse words for Krishna. As we know, Jarasandha was very powerful, and it took many, many days to finally destroy him by the inconceivable plan of Krishna and the trick of Krishna by which he helped in the killing of Jarasandha. I would not get into the story now, but we know in the history of the Mahabharata. So as Jarasandha was being killed, Jarasandha realized that Krishna was ultimately the trickster who had helped in his mysterious killing. So the last two words that Jarasandha, he swore to Krishna, one was Bandhuhan, and the second was Purushadhama. So Bandhuhan is a swear word because Krishna is Bandhuhan, described Jarasandha, because Bandhu means someone very dear to you and Han means to kill. So Krishna had killed Kamsa, and that Jarasandha was invoking at the time of his departure, called Krishna Bandhuhan. And the second word he called Krishna was Purusha Adhama, which means Adhama means lowest and Purusha means man. He's lowest among men, basically. These were the two derogatory words used. And as a result of which, as he left, although he was, trying to swear at Krishna, it is described as he left, he got a very elevated destination. The reason is Saraswati Devi, who is also at the feet of Sri Krishna, very mercifully flipped the words. What Jarasandha meant was Bandhuhan, destroyer of Kamsa, destroyer of someone very dear to Krishna. But Mother Saraswati took a very interesting meaning out of it. She said, who is that Bandhu for a living entity? A conditioned living entity always considers Maya Devi to be his friend. Because we have relatives in this world as far as this body is concerned. But as we leave this body, we continue to take newer births in different species, having different relatives and parents. But who is that one friend that a conditioned soul doesn't leave? And that is Maya Devi. So Bandhu here refers to Maya Devi, and Han means to destroy. So although Jarasandha called out to Krishna as that Krishna who killed Kamsa, who's very dear to Krishna, Mother Saraswati took the meaning as that Krishna who ultimately destroys material illusory covering for the jiva. Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadhyante maya metam tarantite. So that Bandhuhan, which was a swear word, turned out to be a glorification. And second word that he swore was Purushadhama. Purusha Adhama, the lowest among men. This is one meaning of his swearing. But Mother Saraswati, who is Vak Devi, who is the goddess of the Sanskrit language, she took this meaning as follows. She said, Purushadhama means that Lord Krishna in front of whom all other great Purushas become Adhama. all great controllers, Purushas, they become adhama, they become very insignificant in front of Krishna. So Purushadhama was deciphered like that by Mother Saraswati. So she said Purushadhama as that Krishna in whose presence all the great personalities become insignificant. So basically that is non-different from the word Purushottama. So the reason we heard this story is to understand how even Mother Saraswati is serving Krishna in flipping the words, and how even at the time of death when Jarasandha said Purushadhama, that was turned as Purushottama, as that Krishna who is the Supreme Lord for all that exists. So in this way, Gajendra in text 22 is calling out to the Lord of all the demigods, the Lord of the Vedas, the Lord of all the creations, the Lord of all that exists. All of these entities are not just insignificant comparison to the Supreme Lord, but they are actually a small portion of the portion, kalayakrutaha, of the Supreme Lord. Now text 23. Yatarchishogne savitu gabhastayo niryanti samyanti sakrit swarochishaha tatha yatoyam gunasam pravaho buddhi mana khani sharira sargaha. Very, very beautiful words. Yatha, just like. Archi. So Archi refers to the flames in the fire. Agnehe. Agni means fire. And Savituhu. Savituhu means the sun. Savitri means sun. Suryadev. And Gabhastayo. Gabhastaya means rays, sun rays. So Gajendra is making a very interesting point here. Niryanti and Samyanti. Niryanti, Samyanti. So Niryanti means to create and Samyanti means to destroy or enter. So Niryanti in Sanskrit can also be deciphered as Udgachanti. Ut means upward and Gachanti means to leave. So that which is created from outward, from the source is called Niryanti or Udgachanti. So Gajendra is giving two examples here for creation from and destruction into. He gives the example of the flames in the fire and the example of the rays of the sun. Now it's interesting, why would he give two examples? So first example is fire sparks. You see, when you see a fire flame from a distance, it seems as if it is burning constantly, as if it is not change. There's no change. It seems like in the shape of a teardrop from a distance. But when you go close, you see there's so much chemical reaction going on. Constantly there are flames or sparks created, and they are also falling into the fire and getting destroyed. And it's happening so fast that it seems that it is constant. And this is why when you have an oil lamp, the oil gets consumed. If there's no chemical reaction going on, and if there are no sparks created from that fire and destroyed and entered into that fire, then why would that oil or that ghee get consumed? It is because there is constant consumption and there's constant chemical reaction going on. So the example of the sparks coming from the fire represent the nature of being constant, right? This is the first example given. There's constant creation and destruction coming from Krishna. So Krishna is constantly creating things outward, outside. It's coming from him, and then at one point it is absorbed into him. Just like flames in the fire are created from the fire and they get consumed into the fire, but from a distance it seems as if it is constant. Similarly, Krishna is creating universes and they are emanating from him, and they finally, after their purpose, they get consumed into him, but it's happening so fast, it seems as if it is continuous. So the continuity is shown by the first example. Then why is he talking about the second example, Savituhu Gabastayo, the sun and the sun rays? Oh, that is to show the unlimitedness. You see, early in the morning the sun rises and throws off all his sun rays coming outward, you see. There's no other source. It's coming from the sun, all the rays, every single sun ray. It's actually coming from the sun. from dawn to dusk. So the interesting thing is the sun is emanating all the rays from him in all directions. And by the end of the day, he's able to collect each and every ray back into him. It's such a magnificent example. If you actually think about it, never is there a case where the sun comes out and throws in all the rays in all directions, and they're going like cows herding in different directions, and by the end of the day, the cowherd man has to go searching for every cow to get him back. The sun never has to do that to see if there is some sun ray stuck in some room, in some house, or if there is some sun ray which has gone astray. It doesn't happen. The sun who gives out all these rays early in the morning in all directions, by the end of the day, he's able to collect all of them back into him. And then there's darkness. And during that darkness, you can try as many tube lights and bulbs possible, but they don't replace even the potency and the authenticity of one ray. So what does that mean? Krishna is like this sun. So this sun is an insignificant example here. But if the sun can create everything, all the rays in all directions, and wrap them back into him by the end of the day, and then keep doing it again and again, the sun never gets tired, never diminishes in its potency, doesn't need any maintenance. We can create the sun. We can't do anything to make him rise. And if he wants to set, you have no scientific equipment to stop it from setting. When it sets, there's no equipment to force it to rise. And when it rises in the sky, there's no way we can move it. And when it sets, you can stop it, you can create it, you can destroy it, you can't even maintain it, you can't even replicate it. And then it makes all these rays in the morning in all directions and wraps it up by the end of the day. This shows the unlimitedness of Krishna's creation. So the fire flame example shows the continuity. How fast these flames are moving in the fire. That's how fast Krishna creates and destroys, creation destroys, creates and destroys, and it seems as if it is constant. And so that is the continuity factor. And the sun example is the unlimitedness factor. So these two examples have been used by Gajendra. My Lord, just like the fire sparks, they come and re-enter into you. Similarly, you are, and just like the sun creates these rays and wraps it back, similarly, my Lord, you are creating so many universes and the variegated variety in all of them. And then at your own sweet will, you wrap it back into yourself. No one can control you to create. No, when you want to create, no one can stop you. When you want to destroy, no one can stop you. While you have created, no one can even maintain it like you do. No one can replicate it, just like the sun. So such amazing analysis. The philosophy has been put with so much eloquence, so to speak, with these two examples. We see just like the ocean also. Water of the ocean evaporated by the sun becomes the cloud, and that cloud throws the water back into the ocean. What is the loss or the gain? Nothing. But this shows the water cycle, not just shows the cycle of the water system, it shows life system. Krishna, like the ocean of mercy, is giving out all the water in his creation and forms the clouds of his creation. And when it's time to destroy, all of that water comes back into the ocean. You see? So Niryanti and Samyanti. Niryanti means to create, and Samyanti means to absorb in oneself. And amidst that, between Niryanti and Samyanti, there is maintenance. At that time, he uses the word Guna Pravaha. You see? In text 23. Tatha yatoyam guna sampravaho. Pravaha means like a river flow. And guna means sattva, rajas, tamas. So with sattva, rajas and tamas, imagine a child is given blue color and red color and yellow color, and he creates other colors. He mixes blue and yellow and makes it green, and he mixes the other two colors and makes different colors. He makes blue and red into violet and other colors, and I believe red and yellow into orange, I believe. So the primary colors are mixed to make so many other colors. So similarly, sattva, rajas, tamas is used by the artist called Krishna to make a variety of so many beautiful patterns in the spectrum, in the canvas of his creation. And some of them are crawling, some of them are swimming, some of them are flying, some of them are walking. All of them have so much variety, so many different environmental conditions, and they all have different gross and subtle elements also. Gajendra is saying, Buddhi mana sharira, Buddhi mana khani sharira sargaha. Buddhi means you give them intelligence also. Mana, you give them mind. Khani, you give them senses. And sharira, you give them bodies also. This is really interesting. Very, very beautiful description that Gajendra is giving. You are creating so many different environmental conditions, so many things to eat, so many trees and fruits and flowers and weather and so many species, as we were previously mentioning. All that we can do is discover them. Therefore, the TV channel is called Discovery Channel, Discovery TV channel. There's no invention channel. You can't invent these things. It's if someone can just paint a butterfly on the canvas very nicely, and people say, "Oh wow, very nice, you did a good job." Imagine Krishna actually makes them. He really makes them, and he gives them buddhi, mana, khani, sharira. He gives them buddhi. He gives them mind. He gives them senses. They can taste with their feet, and the dogs can sniff. The eagles can see from a distance, and the bats can hear ultrasound, and the bumblebees can see ultraviolet patterns on the top of the flowers which have honey. So Krishna not just makes them, it's not just some random making. He puts so much intricate, intelligent design and fine-tuning in each of his creations. Talking about buddhi, everyone who has had an experience of bed bugs, you will agree to me on this. Now the bed bugs are so small. They are so small, but how intelligent. You will never find them on the bed. But as soon as you switch off the light and you're trying to sleep and take some rest, the bed bugs are there biting your feet. So you try to switch on the light and you can see them. But then when you have experience of being through bed bugs, we see a pattern among the bed bugs. And the pattern is when you have a bed sheet and it has darker spots, design on the bed sheet, a design on the pillow cover, and there are darker spots, the bed bug is given the intelligence to hide in the black region of the bed sheet or the pillow cover when the light is switched on. When it is pitch dark, they move around without any fear. But when the light is switched on, Krishna has fit this beautiful, beautiful buddhi in such a small, moving, crawling creature that it camouflages itself in the darker section of the bed sheet or the pillow cover so that it can be spotted. How wonderful is this? Who is giving this buddhi? Who is giving this buddhi? This is why Ma mano madhupo mego madhyapo markato marut makshika matkuno matsyo makara dasha chanchalaha. In Sanskrit language, this question has been asked. What are the 10 top unsteady things which all start with ma? So the poet composes ma, mano, madhupo, megho, madhyapo, markato, marut, makshika, matkuno, matsyo, makara, dasha chanchalaha. The 10 things which are unsteady in this world, which all start with ma, are ma. First is wealth. Manaha, which means mind. Ma, mano, madhupo. Madhupa means a honeybee. Megha, cloud. Madhyapa, a drunkard. Ma, mano, madhupo, mego, madhyapo, markata, monkey. Marut. Ma, mano, madhupo, mego, madhyapo, markato, marut. Yes, the 7th marut is wind. Makshika. Makshika means a housefly. Matkuna. Matkuna means a bedbug. And matsya, fish. 10 things, all start with ma. So one of them, interestingly, is the bedbug. The bedbug moves so much. It's very unsteady, actually. It doesn't stay in one place. It's not the nature of a bedbug to stay in one place. It moves to so many places. But as soon as the light is switched on, inside the buddhi has been fit by the Supreme Lord to be in the darker region so that it cannot be caught, it cannot be killed. It camouflages its skin, its cover with the background, so to speak. So here when Gajendra is saying, my Lord, you are creating, maintaining and destroying everything like the flames and the fire or the sun and the sun rays. It's such a beautiful, amazing verse and description. Just like you see green leaves, they turn dry and then they fall to the ground and then they mix with ground, the earth, and then in no time it becomes part of the earth. You see during the fall season, as the leaves are falling, you see every street filled with leaves. And slowly but surely, okay, some places of course they're cleaned, but eventually they're cleaned and put where? You see they mix with the earth and they become part of the earth. So everything that comes from earth, it's a very beautiful cycle. Let me go in the chronological order of its life. Green leaves turning dry, falling to the ground, mixing with the earth, becoming one with the earth. Now the earth draws water through the feet of the tree, or supplies the water to the feet of the tree, and the tree produces green leaves again. So the green leaf, which became dry, which fell to the ground and became one with the ground, that ground is absorbing the water and giving to the roots of the tree. The tree is now giving back the green leaves. So similarly, Krishna as Mother Earth is creating so many green leaves, not just green leaves, red leaves, blue leaves, in the form of the variegated creation. And finally, Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. They're all Bhutva means they're all created, and finally Praliyate. They go back into the Supreme Lord. So in this example, we said the green leaves go to the earth and the earth creates the green leaf. But where does the earth ultimately go? All of this gets into the earth and the earth gets finally into the body of Mahavishnu. There's total creation and everything gets back into the body of the Lord. The Lord has created mountains and rivers and trees and animals and birds and insects, and all of them finally, during the time of devastation and total destruction, all of that gets into the body of the Lord. So this is the Supreme Lord whom we belong to. Such a great position. So sometimes even after knowing all this, we take the Supreme Lord to be we don't even understand the position of the Supreme Lord, and we are sometimes proud to say that I'm an atheist. Well, it's actually, one has to be very, very foolish to be an atheist. How can you miss the wonders of this world, is the question. It's impossible. You look in any direction and there are innumerable sources of wonder. What is the intellectual scientific explanation for that? Is everything by chance? Is it possible for, let's say, a bunch of monkeys to jump on a typewriter and type a Shakespeare sonnet? Is it possible? It's not possible. But they say, well, there is still a possibility. There's still some possibility. Similarly, the whole world coming like this with all its variegatedness is also a possibility. But Krishna is so merciful that he still continues to maintain even the atheists. Such a great soul. Super soul. So here Gajendra, after describing the Supreme Lord in text 24, we'll take that also in about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll wrap up this set of three verses. Gajendra is saying this Krishna, he is not a mere mortal. Text 24. Savaina deva suramartya tiryan nastri na shando na puman na jantuhu nayam guna karma na san na chasan nisheda shesho jayata da sheshaha. See, sometimes when we go to the store and let's say we buy some sugar and we come home with our bag of sugar and we keep it to the side because we get a phone call. So we get into our inner room, bedroom, and we're talking to someone and we have kept the sugar bag open because we want to transfer that into a box. It's still in a bag. So we have kept it open and we get this call, we get into the bedroom, we have a call for an hour and we come back. What do we see? We see already a bunch of ants moving around as if it's their domain. There are a line of ants moving around. You can imagine a typical kitchen setup in India. You get the sugar, you keep it, and then all the ants are lining up. And not just that, there's message being relayed to other places also, that there's enough for this whole year for us. There's enough sugar, right? So who is getting that sugar? Us. For whose benefit? Our benefit. Who left it there? We. And in the middle, the ants come there and crazily crawl all over the place and call it their own. So now if we go and try to take their sugar bag away, the ants will all revolt, saying, hey, look at this person. We were the one who found this bag of sugar, and now he's so foolish and so crazy. He's trying to steal and take away our property. This is exactly our situation. God creates. Now, sugar is just a small, insignificant product. Krishna, God creates the whole creation. In fact, He destroys also everything. And in the middle, He leaves it there. And we come and we start sharing it between us and start saying that actually this is our property, this is my property, this is your property. And then we extend our network of attachments and very, very temporary, illusory designations. Even in the marketplace, if you see, from where you buy the sugar, you see there's one who's selling the sugar and there's one who's buying the sugar. So there's a seller of the sugar and there's a purchaser of the sugar, but there's no one talking about who's producing that sugar. Ultimately, it is Krishna. Ultimately, it's Krishna. So similarly, here Gajendra in this verse, he is talking about the greatness of Krishna. That great Supreme Lord has been described here. That Lord who creates the sun, who maintains the sun, who ultimately takes away the sun. We are very insignificant. We can't create rain. And when there's more rain, it's a problem. When there's less rain, it's a problem. We can't stop it from raining if it starts raining. And you can't do anything to induce the natural rain. You can create artificial rain, but not natural rain. So when there's less rain, there's drought. There's more rain, there's floods. And then wind. Imagine the direction and the intensity of the natural wind blowing. We can't do anything. We are so insignificant. We're just moving like those ants in the middle. We'll be stamped under the feet of death very soon. But then still the atheistic, egoistic, egocentric, self-centric mindset doesn't accept the greatness of the Creator. So that Krishna has been described here in this verse by Gajendra. He says, Sa vai na deva sura martya tiryan. Devaha, that this Supreme Lord is not a demigod. He's not a deva. And asura, he's not a demon. And martya, he's not a human. Na tiryan, he is not a bird or a beast or an aquatic. Na stri, he is not a woman. Na shanda, he is not a eunuch. Na puman, he is not a man. And na jantuhu, he is not an insignificant living being. Na ayam guna karma, na san, na chasan, nished ashesho jayatat asheshaha. So very, very beautiful description. I'll just give a very simple overview of this. In South India, in the Sri Vaishnav line, there is a very great Tamil poet. And he sings in his very wonderful poetry this pastime, that one time Krishna and his sakhas on one side and Radharani and her sakhis on the other side, they had a competition. What was the competition? 2 ponds were given, like Radha Kund and Sham Kund. And the condition was, which camp is going to jump in first, bathe quickly, come out, wipe themselves, dress themselves, ornament themselves and be ready. Whichever camp finishes it fastest, they win. So Radha and Krishna, they jumped, and Radharani, she took her bath, she wiped herself, and when she dressed herself, when she was ornamenting herself, she saw that one foot ankle bell is present, but the other foot ankle bell is missing. One earring is there, but one earring is missing. And similarly, one bracelet is there, but another bracelet is missing. So the ornaments on one side of the body are there, but the other side is missing. So Radharani was not able to dress herself, ornament herself. And when she looked in the other direction, Krishna was already standing ready with the complete makeup. And what was interesting, Krishna had put on all the remaining ornaments. He had earring on one ear, he had ankle bell on one ankle, and he had bracelet on one wrist, like that. So Radharani said, "Oh, what is this?" Krishna smiled and he said, "Now both of us win." Both of us win. So the Sri Vaishnava Acharya, when he is singing this poetry in his meditation, he says, "Oh Krishna, should I say that you're a male? No, because you're ornamented with these different feminine ornaments. Should I say you're a female? No, because you're just taking on these ornaments temporarily. Should I say that you are neither male nor female? No, because that is a eunuch category. You are neither of that. Oh Krishna, you are way beyond the genders." This is how the essence of the song is. So here Gajendra is saying the same thing. Oh Krishna, you may appear to be male as Krishna and female as Radharani, but that doesn't mean you're a boy or a girl. You're not a male or a female. You're way beyond the bodily identification. Like Srila Prabhupada, one time, he was giving this example that if I give you a white coat and if I give your friend a black coat, and if I call you all, "Hey white coat, hey black coat, please come here," how do you feel? They said, "We'll feel offended because we have a name and you're calling us by the coat." Prabhupada said, "Exactly, you got the point of the Bhagavad Gita." Just like one person who's wearing the white coat and the other person is wearing a black coat, if you call them on the basis of their black coat or white coat, it is an insult because they have a name, they have a personality, and you're calling them on the external. Similarly, Prabhupada said, these bodies are all like coats and we are the soul within. To identify with these bodies and say that I am a male or I am a female, I am a human, I am Indian, I am an American, and in the Indian category I am Hindu, I am Muslim, then I am South Indian, I am North Indian, then I am in this state, this caste. Oh my God, there's no limit how much we can drag the network of material temporary label giving, illusory labels on our personality. Prabhupada said, we only belong to Krishna. So to identify on the basis of the body is foolishness. So when for the Atma, identifying with the body is foolishness, what to speak of Paramatma? That is the same point that Gajendra is making here. To think that Krishna is male, Radharani is female, and therefore their pastimes are like a romantic boy and girl of this world, it's actually complete nonsense, complete foolishness to the greatest extent, not knowing any Siddhanta or Tattva according to Shastra. So Gajendra here, he's making this point that, my Lord, you are Sir Vai. Vai means indeed. And you see how many times he uses the syllable Na. Na Deva Asura Martya Tiryan. Na Stri. Stri means female. Na Shandi or Shando, neuter gender or eunuch. Na Puman, male. Na Jantuhu. You see the word, he uses the word na so many times. Once in the first line, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the second line, and 1 in the third line. So he has used it so many times for overemphasis that Krishna is not a male or a female or both or neither. He's just way beyond all of this, labels, so to speak. This is why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai tribhir gunamair bhavaihi ebhi sarvamidam jagat mohitam nabijanati mamebhya paramavyayam. Krishna says, from me comes all sattva, rajas and tamas, but that doesn't mean that it binds me. So karmic reactions come outward from Krishna's personality, but that doesn't mean it binds Krishna in them. We have male body, female body, human body, animal body, American body, Indian body, etc., because of karma. So it's not that Krishna is a male, Radharani is a female, because some people, they say that, Radharani actually did lot of pious karma from past life. Therefore, she became very beautiful. This is actually foolishness. Just like Sattva, Rajas, Tamas comes out from Krishna, that doesn't mean it binds Krishna. Karma comes out from Krishna, but that doesn't mean it binds Krishna. When the president, let's say Donald Trump, enters some Tihar jail or Yerawada jail in India, and all the prisoners there, they think, oh, this president has also become a criminal, that's why he's entering. It is foolish. To think that the president is like us, therefore he is entering, is one crime. Or to think because he is a president and he is entering, we who are already here, we are also presidents. You see, these are two kinds of foolishness. One, when the president Trump enters the prison, to think that he is also a criminal, therefore he is entering the jail. And second, to think he is entering the jail where we are all there and he is the president, therefore I think we are also presidents. So the two faults are, one, to think God is a mere mortal, or two, to think a mere mortal to be God. Both of them are false. God is God. He's way beyond all of these definitions. So karma doesn't act on Krishna. Sometimes we hear people say that, oh, actually Ram, he shot the arrow on Vali from behind the tree. And therefore, because of this bad karma, he was implicated in the karma. And as a result of which, Vali became the hunter, Jara. And he shot the arrow at the feet of Krishna. And Krishna died because of that arrow. Some people foolishly say that. That is not correct according to Shastra. That Ramachandra was not implicated in karma by killing Vali. And that is not why Vali became the hunter, Jara, and shot the arrow at the feet of Krishna. There's no description where Jara shot the arrow and then Krishna yelled in pain. There is no verse where Krishna says, oh, what have you done? You have injured me. Now I am bleeding profusely. Nothing like that. So why did that pastime take place? Well, Shastra describes that Bhrigu Muni, when he kicked the chest of Vishnu, he felt very repentant. Vishnu forgave him, but Lakshmi Devi was very angry, and as a result she cursed Bhrigu Muni. She cursed Bhrigu Muni to say that you are a Brahmana. Just to find out the test of who is the greatest personality, you came to Vaikuntha and you kicked the chest of Narayana. What do you think of yourself? Therefore I curse you to be born as a very low class hunter. So Bhrigu Muni was born as Jara, who was the hunter described, who went to shoot the arrow at the feet of Krishna. And he thought the feet of Krishna at Prabhakshetra to be a deer dipping down and drinking water. So because of the curse of Lakshmi, he was born, he lost his Brahminical position, Bhrigu Muni, and he was born in a family of hunters where they would hunt and eat animals and drink their blood. But finally, Narayana or Sri Krishna had very inconceivable plans of delivering his dear devotee. So when Jara shot the arrow at the feet of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, it is described that Krishna manifested Chaturbhuja, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, four-handed form. And Jara fell at the feet of the Lord and said, my Lord, I don't know how I made this mistake. I shot your lotus feet with this arrow. Please kindly forgive me. So when Krishna saw that Bhrigu Muni as Jara the hunter became so humble and he was repenting and he had so much regret and remorse in his heart, Krishna very lovingly blessed him and he could regain his original position as Bhrigu Muni after he had humbled himself and gone through the tunnel of atonement with regret and remorse. And Krishna, he very beautifully wound up his pastimes and he left. So to think now without understanding this history, to think that, because Ram was implicated in the karma by killing Vali, Ram became Krishna and then that karma did not. Now this is incorrect. Some people even say this. Ram, he built this bridge with stones. Which engineering college, which structural engineering college did Ram learn all this from? So when you think Ram and Krishna to be mere mortals like us, we will think that, they need some college education to have construction and civil structural knowledge, or they have done past good karma to get very beautiful bodies, or they become implicated in bad karma by killing Vali, etc. This is very atheistic. So therefore, the Supreme Lord, here Gajendra is saying, he is way beyond all this, and karma doesn't absolutely act on him. And he is described as Shesha and at the same time Ashesha in the last line. How can someone be opposites? You see, Shesha and Ashesha are opposites. Shesha means limited, and Ashesha means unlimited. So they seem to be opposites. How can Krishna be Shesha and Ashesha? Well, Shesha means remainder. After the whole creation is wound up, what remains? Shesha, Krishna. Yet at the same time, Ashesha means unlimited. So his prabhav, his shakti, his potency is Ashesha. But yet at the same time, at the end of the whole creation, Shesha, he is who remains. He is the person who remains completely. So by understanding all of these philosophy and understanding the position of Krishna, one can serve him very nicely. This is why on the altar only Brahmanas are allowed to touch the deity. Why? Because without having understanding of who is the person whom I am serving, one can make the mistake. One can serve the deity on the altar and yet be atheistic. Sometimes people ask this question, oh, if I don't believe in God, can't I be happy? Well, definitely we can be happy. No problem. Even if the father who serves the child so much, the child remains ever ungrateful, still the father will feed him and keep him happy. But what will happen? That child who is ungrateful to the father, he will find happiness by eating samosas on the street at a thela wala. So that is also happiness, right? He's ungrateful to his father, but he's still having happiness. He's eating samosa on the street. But is that the happiness that he actually deserves? If he just goes back to his father with gratitude, he can sit in a big dining hall and have a feast, a 9-course feast, right? But he's missing all that, and he's eating samosa on a thela wala on the street and finding happiness. So can some atheist who's ungrateful to Krishna be happy? Well, definitely. Definitely. Because that is the greatness of our Lord. He maintains everyone, those who accept him, those who don't accept him. But the nature of happiness that they will have is insignificant. Will be like someone eating samosa on the street, while they actually deserve to sit with Krishna in the forests of Vrindavan and in his association take rasgullas and gulab jamuns from his lunchbox and run and make Krishna run after him and then feed this personally in Krishna's mouth. So much pleasure. But instead of that, chapala sukha lavalagire, he is trying to find happiness in this world. So definitely an atheist will be happy. But on a scale of 10, if a devotee finds 10 on 10, an atheist finds only 1 or 2, and he thinks, well, I am also happy. So therefore, Brahman janati iti brahmana. Prabhupada says that those who understand the position of Krishna, only he can go on the altar and properly touch the deity. That, my Lord, this ability of holding you with my hands also comes from you. You have not made me blind. I can see you, my Lord. I can see you, I can touch you, I can read about you, I can hear about you. Thank you, my Lord, for keeping me alive and giving me this moment where you are accepting my service. I cannot serve you, my Lord, because service is given to someone who lacks something. Someone lacks something and you give it to them, you're serving them. Krishna doesn't need any service from anyone because he doesn't lack anything. So we can serve him. But Krishna can be kind enough to take service from us. So in this way, Gajendra has been very beautifully, with a lot of philosophical analysis, being describing Krishna. And we finished up to text 24. So we'll meet up tomorrow evening, which is Tuesday, the 21st of April, Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 8 here in North America. We will meet everyone straight here again on the Facebook audio live broadcast. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly joining in. Tomorrow we will continue from text 25 onwards. I will try my bit to finish now we have 25, 26, 27, 28 and 29. 5 more verses, then we will be finished with 28 verses of the Gajendra Stuti of the 3rd chapter of the 8th canto. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.